Liberation Day, when countries can no longer exploit the United States with exorbitant tariffs, currency manipulation, and trade barriers. Donald Trump announced Liberation Day, April 2nd, 2025. For years, leftists have preached fair trade. Finally, we will begin to see actual, genuine fair trade taking place, as Donald Trump prevents others from taking advantage of American generosity. For nearly 25 years, the United States has generously granted duty-free access for thousands of goods and services to dozens of African countries that agree to meet reasonable governance goals like respect for life, liberty, and private property rights. We ask nothing in return, as Congress valued improvements in the human condition within Africa more importantly than the small amount of revenue which tariffs would have contributed to our fiscus. Unfortunately, most of the world has been taking advantage of the United States and its generosity, including African states that impose punitive tariffs on the very nation that gives them a generous free pass. Well, no longer, folks. In order to restore fairness in international trade, on April 2nd, 2025, President Trump imposed what he called reciprocal tariffs on dozens of countries, including many African states. But you'll notice as I cite these reciprocal tariffs, if it's over 10%, it's not reciprocal. We still give people a break. On his first day in office on January 20th, when President Trump temporarily imposed a 90-day freeze on foreign aid, most countries quietly went about their business and tried to deal with the impact of that freeze. Unfortunately, South African politicians and the media decided to play to a domestic audience and attacked America, falsely claiming South Africa was being targeted by racist Americans. Now, nothing could be further from the truth, and South African politicians and media knew full well that they were lying to the world. Let's see what happens now. Folks, South Africa essentially imposes 60% tariffs on U.S. imports, while we charge little to no tariffs on South African goods and services. No longer. Regardless of South Africa's Africa Growth and Opportunity Act status, Trump is imposing a 30% tariff on South Africa in response to the 60% applied to us. Additionally, the new 25% tariff on automobiles also applies to South Africa, which shipped 25,553 cars to the United States in 2024. This directly jeopardizes at least 145,000 jobs in the South African automobile industry. On May 1st, another 25% tariff will also hit South Africa. That one will be on auto parts and will be devastating to the auto industry in South Africa. I understand that Mercedes-Benz, Daimler-Benz, and BMW are already reducing operations to South Africa in anticipation of this. Those 25,000 cars represent 5% of the total car market for all of South Africa, just exports to the United States. Now, the egregious tariffs, currency manipulation, and trade barriers that African states apply to America include these outrageous rates. South Africa's 60% imposed on America. The new reciprocal rate, just half, 30%. Madagascar, 93% on American goods and services, 47% response. Tunisia, 55%, 28% response. Côte d'Ivoire, 41%, the world's largest source of cocoa, just 21%. Botswana, friendly Botswana, perhaps the country with the best diplomatic relations with the United States in all of Africa, has been hitting Americans with a 74% tariff. They'll get a 37% tariff in response. Lesotho, 99% tariff. That's absolutely ridiculous. They'll be getting a 50%. Namibia, 42, 21. Mozambique, 31%, so 16%. And Zambia, 33%, 17%. You'll notice a preponderance of southern African countries in this mix of outrageous tariffs. The abuse that southern Africans have given to America, despite our incredible generosity, saving tens of millions of lives in southern Africa over the past 22 years with PEPFAR, is disgusting. Our reward for saving millions of South Africans and Botswana and Sotho and Namibians and Mozambicans and Zambians are these outrageous tariffs on our goods and services. Folks, no longer. There's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Donald John Trump. And this isn't the man who served his first term. This is a different man who survived 2 assassination attempts that we're aware of and endless attempts to put him in jail for crimes he never committed, along with an effort to bankrupt him. Trump is being very generous here, folks, imposing just half the tariffs that our trading partners impose on us for everything beyond 10%. If it's just 10% and ours is lower, we raise 10% for reciprocity. But those beyond that are catching a break. Hopefully they'll get the message and lower their tariffs. People are making a lot of hay about Donald Trump attacking the world. No, the world has been taking advantage of America for far too long. How does anybody in their right mind think that it's fair to put a 99% tariff on U.S. goods when we have no tariff on your products? That's insanity. No wonder this country has been going down the tubes and all of our manufacturing has been moving overseas. Well, a new day is dawning. It's the golden age in America. And if you don't like it, too bad. And for South African politicians and the media who will cry and scream that South Africa is being singled out, you're not. You're not being singled out. Dozens of countries around the world are now going to see tariffs, reciprocity, or a break if it's beyond the 10%. So don't start crying that, oh, woe is me, woe is me. The last time you did that, your aid got suspended permanently, and we offered a refugee resettlement program as a nation. So my recommendation to South Africa's politicians and to its government, focus more on the screwed up budget you just passed, imposing consumption taxes on the poorest of all South Africans, black South Africans, by raising VAT. What say you, South Africa? What say your world? Cheers.